Welcome back. It is Wednesday, May 31st, and the MLB are 5. Yes, count them up. 5 favorite picks are on the way. It's Austin, joined by Logan. Let's recap yesterday. A solid 2-in-1 day. We will take it. The New York Mets and Phillies under 4.5 was a chef's kiss from you, Logan. Only 1 run scored in the first 5 there. Ty France, Spencer Steer get their hit parlay. That's now 6 straight hitting props we've cashed. And then no one for Stinning did not hit. Now we have an ultimatum to come out. We're going to do a nerfy today, tomorrow, and Friday. If we do not go 2-1 or better on those, we're going to give them a little bit of a break. Obviously, teams are hitting really well right now. There's no shift. It's a lot easier to score runs than it was last year when we dominated the nerfy slates. But either way, it's been a very profitable year. We're not going to worry about that. Logan, we got 5 picks today, and I heard you had a 1.5 unit play for the kids out there. What's it going to be?
Yeah, we'll start with the 1.5 unit play. I do really like the slate a lot today. We're going to the Rays versus Cubs game, and I'm taking the over 8.5 total runs for my 1.5 unit play. Minus 120 odds on PointsBet's currently your best value. Now, several books have yet to release a line for the over-under. I'm taking the 8.5 because I think that's where the line closes at. Look, everyone and their mother's on the under so far, waking up early doing this. I would take the 9, though, because if you're going to ask about, Logan, would you take it at 9 as well? I would take it at 9 as well for plus value because at the end of the day, you're just getting a push opportunity. If they do end on 9 on the dot, you get your money back. So I don't see how you could lose there going with 9. I just know that the line probably will close at 8.5. I'd be shocked if it somehow went up to 9.5. But look, the reason I am confident enough to put 1.5 units on this one, just a little bit extra, is because line reading totals at Wrigley are some of my favorite bets to make. The books are really sharp at Wrigley. It's an old stadium. They have enough data on it. They know the weather, all those sort of factors. And there's no reason why this total should be this high with these two pitchers, right? When you look at a total and you're like, wow, that kind of seems high, you just take the over and you don't ask questions because both the games in the series have soared under. Yet this total sits at where it is. This is, how you do line reading in baseball. I'd be surprised if the total once again soars under with ease. And look at the two pitchers today. You got Justin Steele starting for the Cubs, 2.77 ERA and a 1.11 WHIP. Solid numbers at first glance, right? But Steele was touched up against the Cincinnati Reds in his last start. He gave up 5 earned runs to the Reds. Reds are a good offense. I won't discount that. But today he doesn't face an easier offense at all. The Rays offense is still first in batting average and first in OPS versus left-handed pitchers. Steele, being the lefty he is setting up to probably have a rough outing again if the Rays do bring the bats like I know them to be capable of this year. And who's starting for the Rays today? Zach Eflin, 3.17 ERA, 1.17 WHIP on the year. You look at those numbers, you're like, a pretty decent starts, but Eflin has exceeded my expectations this year, but a bad start is on the horizon for Eflin. Look at Eflin's numbers, 38.4% hard hit percentage, 10% barrel percentage. That's the highest of his career for that barrel percentage. Now, why are we talking about that? Because when hitters barrel up a baseball, that's how you get the extra base hits, and it's how that makes that really satisfying crack right off the bat too. Just hitting square on the baseball. And Eflin, you look at his numbers, and I'm just saying, I could see him giving up some extra base hits today. Look, the Cubs, 18th in average, 19th in OPS at home. Those aren't great numbers for the Cubs, but even though the Cubs offense can be streaky, I still like them to get those extra base hit opportunities versus Eflin because they do have very capable hitters in the lineup, like the Ian Happs, the Morel. Any of those guys could definitely get some extra base hits. And now another reason why I do like the over. The Cubs, 27th in bullpen ERA. Tampa Bay, 22nd in bullpen ERA. Neither bullpen has imploded so far this series, but look, that could easily change today. I just know both these bullpens are, kind of garbage, and I see a lot of run opportunities late. So I am going to go ahead and take the over for 1.5 units as my first play. But Austin, player props still hot. What do you got for the people?
Yeah, let's do it again like I talked about at the top of the show. Hit 6 straight player props. Let's make it 7 straight with this one. And I'm going to go to 2 players from different games. Give you a hint. We might have a same-game parlay in a couple minutes in one of the games. But we're going to talk about Lourdes Gurriel Jr. of the Arizona Diamondbacks and Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners, each of them to record a hit. He's currently plus 108 on DraftKings. Now, if you're like, Austin, I'm missing out on this because I don't have a legal sports betting app, you can go to Sleeper. Sleeper usually puts out the odds for each of these guys to get a hit, and they have that dynamic payout. So if you want to tail on Sleeper and you're not a legal betting state where you have the FanDuels, DraftKings of the world, well, definitely go to Sleeper and make sure you sign up using our code COS. You get 100% deposit match. Shameless plug. Let's dive into why we like both these two guys, though. You look at Gurriel Jr. Well, actually, let's take a step back. If you bet both these guys to get a hit yesterday, well, you lost money. They both went 0 for 4 and 0 for 5, combined 0 for 9. So I love the bounce back potential here. But let's talk about Gurriel Jr. He's batting .312 on the year, 356 in May, and 330 at home. All those things are true. He's at home, and it's still May, the last day of the month. But let's talk about the last time he went back-to-back games without a hit. Well, that was April 7th. It's been a long, long time. He was on like a 16, 17 game hitting streak that ended a couple games ago. Well, ended yesterday, but ended a couple games ago as well. And look, those are games he started. He had a couple games in there where he did not play, but I think he's going to be active in the lineup today. Now, the Rockies, I would dive into the pitches that he's going to see, but Rockies going with the bullpen game, and that's honestly fine with me because, look, their bullpen has allowed the second most hits in the league. It's a very bad bullpen for the Rockies, and I don't care if they throw righties or lefties. Gurriel Jr. hits them both all pretty well. He has been hitting in the 2 and 3 slot the last 2 games. I imagine they slide him back closer to the 5 slot, which is where he was hitting previously, but either way, if they want to put in the 2 or 3, fine with me. I think Gurriel Jr. gets us at least 1 hit, hopefully the extra base hit for the 2+ bases. Now let's move to Julio Rodriguez. He's going to find his way onto the thumbnail as he's going up against Clark Schmidt and the Yankees. Now, Rodriguez batting 241 on the year, not necessarily the best numbers, not like we're taking a guy that's batting 300, but prior to yesterday, he had 2+ hits in 6 straight games. I think he was on an 8 or 9 game hitting streak. Obviously, he went 0 for 5 yesterday, but he is batting 271 at home, a guy that hits pretty well at home. And we know he's always a guy that he could hit the extra base hit, could hit one into the bleachers, but also a guy that can beat out those, ground balls in the infield, very fast runner. So I'm confident Julio can get us a hit here today. And I want to look at the pitches because I know exactly who's going to be throwing it to him. It's our boy Clark Schmidt. We faded him a ton this year. And while this necessarily isn't fading him directly, he is going to give up some hits today, hopefully, and hopefully one of them goes to J-Rod. Now, I struggled to decide between, I want to go J-Rod, Ty France, who we talked about yesterday, J.P. Crawford. However, I want to look at the pitches that Clark Schmidt throws, and a lot of them, when he throws to right-handed batters, 48% as a fastball sinker. So nearly half the pitches that he's throwing to right-handed batters, J-Rod is a righty, are going to be this fastball sinker. Now, you look at J-Rod batting 250 versus 4-seam fastballs, 294 versus sinkers. So he's doing pretty well hitting those 2 pitches. Schmidt also throws a slider and a curveball the rest of the time. You look at J-Rod, he hits the curveball the best out of any pitch. And then the slider is not great at, but I certainly think J-Rod's capable of getting hits. The reason I went to J-Rod and not Ty France and other guys, because J.P. Crawford, my other 2 guys, is because both of them kind of struggled for off-speed pitches, which is basically all that you'll see from Clark Schmidt. So I like Gurriel Jr. I like Julio Rodriguez, both to get a hit. It's plus 108. I'll take a stab at it. I think they both got a good chance of getting it done. And it's also both at 940. So by the time you're watching this, you probably still have time to get this in. So hopefully both these 2 fellas get us a hit. But Logan, what's your second play of the day?
Yeah, for my second play, I'm taking the Nationals plus 1.5 on the run line, plus 105 odds on BetMGM is currently your best value. Now, what's better than 1 line read? How about 2 line reads? The Nationals have been uncompetitive in the first 2 games of the series, and now they're close to even odds with Patrick Corbin on the mound. Patrick Corbin, obviously not one of those pitchers that I'm excited, to back and running out to back. But at the end of the day, I think he actually gets the job done. But the real reason I'm targeting this one is because Noah Syndergaard starts for the Dodgers. 6.27 ERA and a 1.35 whip. You're like, oh, Logan, he's due some regression. And I'm like, yes, he is due some regression, right? I don't think he's a 6 ERA guy, but if you look at his expected ERA, it's still 5.22. There will be hits and run opportunities for this Washington Nationals offense. Washington, 13th in batting average, 26th in OPS versus righties. This is an offense that specializes in hits. They're 4th best in hits and not striking out. They're 2nd best in not striking out. So at the end of the day, I do think they should be able to get some hits and runs up on Syndergaard and absolutely make him work today and hopefully provide enough run support for Patrick Corbin. Now, everyone wakes up and fades this guy. Last year he was absolutely hosting batting practice. This year, he's backable, right? I'm not going to say he's my favorite guy to back, but he's backable. 4.88 ERA, 1.42 whip. Corbin is a pitch-to-contact pitcher. If you're not familiar with his game, he has to induce the soft contact through the ground balls. And if he is doing that today, we will be in really good shape. If you look at how he's done on the season, 48.9% ground ball percentage. That's 10th highest in the majors. So I actually think he stands a really good chance at getting these Dodgers hitters to just roll over on some ground balls. And the Dodgers are 26th in batting average against lefties. That they're only hitting 224 against left-handed pitchers. Now, is Corbin a pitcher that is due some regression as well? Probably, right? But at the end of the day, I am trusting the line on this one because that's kind of how I bet baseball. I have to bet nasty pitchers and nasty teams every once in a while. And if you look at these 2 bullpens, Dodgers 26th in bullpen ERA, Washington 24th in bullpen ERA. There will be run opportunities late for both teams. I hope Washington, even if they are trailing by 2 runs or 3 runs, they're able to get a few cover runs in the later half of the game and backdoor this one. Look, I've bet baseball way too long. I know everyone and their mother is waking up. Dodgers -1.5. Just put in the parlay, put the house on. It's just no, turn off the brain and just move on. That's just not normally how baseball works. So I will go ahead and take a shot on the Washington Nationals with my second pick. But Austin, got another player props for us? What do you got?
Yeah, I really like the Nationals pick. I know a lot of people aren't going to like it. And honestly, the Dodgers bettors had a little lucky last night. They got some cover runs in the 7th and 8th inning, which is how they ended up winning that 9-3. But I promise you, it wasn't that easy and sweat-free. So hopefully the Nats get it done. But yeah, I got another player prop. We're going back to a hit parlay. This one's going to be Spencer Steer and Matt McLain, both of the Cincinnati Reds, each to record a hit. This would be a same-game parlay that you're putting in. It is plus 105 on DraftKings. Now, if you're on an app like Sleeper, you can combine all 4 of my hitters to get a hit, and maybe they'll get it done. I certainly hope so. But let's talk about this one and why I'm targeting both these two fellas. Now, Spencer Steer is an icon. We love him over here. But also Matt McLain, if you never heard of him, I'll introduce you to him now. Well, obviously, we need both these two guys to be in the lineup today. If one of them does decide to pinch it, we might be kind of in a bad spot, but I'm confident both of them will be out there. And we look at who they're going to face. It's going to be James Paxton, a lefty. Now, the lefty is important, but we'll talk about him in a second. But let's talk about McLain because he was called up earlier on in May. He's been hitting really well. Batting .357 this season, .444 versus lefties, and he went 1 for 6 yesterday. So not a really great game. I mean, his first hit came in his first at bat, so he really struggled the rest of the game. But I still like him to get it done. I mean, he has a hit in 8 straight games. He's been really, really good since they called him up. Also, typically bats in the 2 slot. So given that they're on the road, should see a lot of plate appearances here. Confident he can get us at least 1 hit. Now let's talk with Spencer Steer, who obviously helped us out yesterday. He's batting .288 on the season. .302 versus lefties, and .318 in the month of May. He's been really, really good. And while I don't necessarily, sometimes this Reds lineup is weird. They like to put guys like Steer, they sometimes start him in the 3 spot, then he moves down to the 6 slot. Obviously, it didn't matter yesterday. I imagine maybe they move him back up to the 3, which would be better for us. Obviously, the higher he is in the lineup, the better chance for more at-bats. But either way, I'm confident in Spencer Steer too. Now, let's talk about James Paxton, who's going to be the guy that's going to start for the Red Sox. Now, Paxton, it's been okay this year. It's not like he's the best pitcher in the world, not the worst. 5.14 ERA, 1.36 whip. He's given up some hits, averaging about a .250 batting average versus lefties and righties. There's really no difference here. But again, I like to look at the pitches that we're going to see. Paxton, 60% of the time throwing a 4-seam fastball. The other 18 and 17% are going to be a curveball and a cutter. Now we look at Steer's batting average versus those pitches, 300 versus the 4-seamer, 368 versus the curve, and 353 versus the cutter. Steer obviously been really, really good. Confident he can get us at least 1 hit. Now you look at McLain, batting 385 versus 4-seamers, 375 versus a curveball, and you look at it as .000 versus the cutter. Now you might be like, Austin, he's just going to spam cutters. Well, there is worth noting that Paxton obviously throws a cutter the least amount of the time, and also you look at a guy like McLain, just got called up, has only seen, I believe, 16 cutters so far. So it's not like it's a big sample size there. It's by far his least seen pitch at the plate. I still think that we'll see a lot of 4-seamers and curveballs, which he's crushing. All we need is 1 hit from each of these two guys. I certainly think they can get it done. Matt McLain, Spencer Steer, each to record a hit. Same game parlay, plus 105 on DraftKings. I played it to around, I think it was -115 on FanDuel when I looked at it. Probably played it to right around -120. I wouldn't go any higher than that. So Spencer Steer, Matt McLain, we're counting on you. Now it's time, Logan. Get the music going. Nerfy Nation, we need a winner in the worst way. We've lost a couple in a row. I'm feeling good about today's, and I'm feeling good. We need a winner here. Like I said, if we don't go 2-1 over the next 3 days, we'll give Nerfy Nation a little bit of a rest for the pitchers all to figure it out. Maybe they'll return later on in June. But let's talk with this one that we're going with. It's an earlier start, Pirates-Giants. Nowhere on first inning, -115 on Bet365. Now, if you're on FanDuel, I strongly suggest you get another book because FanDuel's got this one juiced like -146, and we don't play Nerfies at that. But this was -115 on 365, -120 on BetMGM, and I think -125 on DraftKings. So it's 3 playable odds. Now let's talk about why we're liking this one. And Alex Wood's going to get the go for the Giants. He's 5-2 on no on first innings. And the Pirates 19th in first inning runs. If you were to go to yesterday, they Nerfied easily in that game. So if people are on the Nerfy in that one, they're probably not running it back, which we like to see. I certainly think Wood, we've taken his Nerfies before. He's gotten the job done before. I certainly think he can get me those first 3 outs. Who's on the other side, Logan?
Yeah, Mitch Keller starts for the Pirates. And if you look at his Nerfy numbers, yeah, bit suspect. 5-6 on no run first innings. Now, do I think he can handle the Giants' top half? And Mitch Keller is one of those pitchers that sometimes the reason why he's so up and down is because he doesn't settle in on the first inning of the game. But I actually think he's in line for a decent showing. Look, the Giants are 5th in first inning runs. They know how to score, but they actually score a little bit less first inning runs at Oracle Park than they do on the road. So I'm just saying, I think being an early start time in this one actually does play to our advantage. I think the bats might come out a little bit slow. The over-under set to 7.5. I think the books agree with us on this one. Yes. Is this one like my most confident 10 out of 10 nerfy? No, it's not. And nerfy nation's been shaky this year. We've been 500 or about 500 this year, but that's just because of the rule changes in baseball. If you don't like this pick, don't tail it. I'm just so tired of people saying, "Oh, the nerfy," and don't tail it. It's really that simple. But Austin and I do like this one. I think we stand a really good chance of flying the flags early in this one.
Yeah, we're cashing 6 quick outs. It's also an earlier start when you're talking about in San Fran. So really, it's like a 12:45 start over there. So hopefully the bats are a little bit slow to wake up and we can cash out that one. But that's 5 picks. I think that's might be our most that we've ever given out on the channel so far this season. But MLB is about to be the only sport in town, so we might start giving out more picks. So we've obviously done really well on every other pick. So let's have a great day. If we go 5-0, I don't know what we'll do, but we'll have a great day. Let's have it. Let's do it. We'll see you guys back in tomorrow. If you want to check out our parlay of the day, I'll put it up on the screen. Another 3 legs to get a hit. Shout out Aussie Albies for selling yesterday. Shake my head. Let's get into it. Let's have 5-0. We'll see you guys back in Thursday. Peace.